We did it again. Left at 9 this morning. Or 9 yesterday morning, I guess. And now I'm back at 1:34 in the morning. Just rolled in the driveway. We got 900K. It was a slow start to the day. Should have got more K for that amount of time, but 10 hours. Hey, lady. Well, next morning, getting set up to wash these pigs. My poor truck, first time it's ever seen snow, but had to go. Still tight. Dirty. Poor girl. Sandblasted on the trip back. Made it though. You like the snow, eh? Alrighty. Another G-body for the pile. Technically the A series, I believe, but what we have here is a 1980 Malibu. Call this car Gold Fever. I think it's suiting because it's kind of a gold shit color. Slash, when I found the car, I just had to get it. It was like a G-body fever. Turns out this thing's a little rougher than I would have liked it to be. And I should have jewed them down a little bit. So Matt if you're watching. You're lucky. You got $500 extra than I definitely should have paid, but whatever. It's a Malibu, and I picked up that blue one in the previous videos at the same time for next to nothing, so sort of a 2-for-1 deal. Decent car, I guess. I don't know. She's rough. Everything's pretty much here. The front bumper's not dinged up or nothing. The grill's flat black like every other 16-year-old would do. I would leave that chrome. Even if the chrome was faded, I probably would have left it, but fillers are fading out a little bit. He's sitting a little high there, which is quite sloppy. I put this style hood ornament on it. It had the non-classic style on it before, you can see, but the parts one came with that. I figured why not. A little bit of a fuck up there. The hood ain't bad except for crinkled here. It's like, fuck this car. It was raining when I was looking at it, and fuck, she looks pretty good, pretty straight. And should have took a little more time looking at it. It's got some black American Racing rims on it. 15s. Decent little tires. Looks like staggered as well. So you got the short lip there, and then quite a bit fatter lip in the back. I think this car has been painted before, just judging from some of the things. Yeah, look at that door gap on the bottom. She ain't pretty. Not the worst, not the best. Not very good. Drivable, I guess. A little bit of a rust hole here. I just globbed some silicone in there to prevent the mice from getting in as much as I can. Pretty clean back bumper. Looks like a scratch there, but a little bit that mini pitting sort of look. Can't really see it, but not dented up anyways. Something was sitting on the hood. Got the paint all fucked up. Look at the door. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah. She's rough. Mega rough. Oh. And that's because the door pins are fucked, so people just slam and push on the doors. You actually have to lift it to get it to close good, because the door pins are worn out. Because the doors are 600 pounds each. Somebody peeled off all the door ding trim. Is that you? No, it wasn't you. But that's roughly the outside of the car. Some hokey poke silicone leak repair here. What do we got for passenger doors? Not horrible. Yeah. horrible. Still a little bit of crap in there. Haven't fully opened up the cans of elbow grease on this car. You can tell it used to be tan interior and it's been painted black. Not sure, but I think those are Cutlass seats with the things. Non-reclining bucket seats. Somewhat decent looking interior. Aftermarket Grant wheel or something. If you might remember, that's the deck from that other Malibu. It was broken. Decided just to mold that one with some tin foil, pull it out of the tin foil, and then fill it with plastic welder, and then glue it on. Now I'll paint that up and it should look pretty good. Radio Restore, the blue one. I put it in here just for the classic look. I actually did a complete dash swap in here because the other dash was it was just so loosely in there. None of the top mounting bolts, like right there and there, none of those were in, and the whole dash was loose. It had a plastic dash pad cover on it, so decided I would take this dash out, even though it's got a couple cracks in it. I'd rather have a couple cracks in an original dash than a plastic dash pad cover, plus all the radio and AC mounting tabs were all busted out of it. It was just a joke. But I got this one semi-complete. Actually, it is really complete. Kind of detailed up the trim lines and all that stuff right there, sort of give you that back to factory look. Same with this guy. And cut to mini resto. Well, mini repair. Got a broken off tab down there. The other ones are on there. I've started to do a mold. I'm going to form some plastic weld into the shape of that. I've sanded all in there with heavy grit on both sides all around, then cleaned it, degreased it. So that tin foil is going to be part of my mold, but before I do that, I found, focus, this little washer that I've cut and sanded, sharpened a little bit. Nice thin guy, big hole. And I'm gonna heat it up and melt it into the tab first. That way when I do build my plastic epoxy tab, it's got the strength of a little bit of metal that's actually, well, basically welded into the dash plate or whatever you're repairing. I've done this on multiple interior parts, so here we go. Oh, she's red hot. Hot, hot, hot. Come on, baby. Yeah, not bad. I might actually try and get that in there a little farther. See if it comes out easy or not. Now that it's welded in there. Oh, she's in there good. Nope, that's staying. Nope, there she goes. Popped out. I'll try that again. Oh yes, that's exactly what I needed there. Ready. Cool that down. Not bad. That's better. That's what you want to see right there. Buried it in there. So then I will do my little epoxy. I'll do my little mold out of this tin foil, fold up the edges there. Yep, and then get a little bit of epoxy in there, mold it. I'll just fill that whole entire center, and then I will drill that hole out again after. And it should be pretty good. I'll overlap it over onto that sanded stuff. We got room back there to add material, but can't really go down because that lip rests into the dash, I believe, or into the console, whatever, into the dash piece. So you can't really go down, just stick to about the same level. And then we will see how that goes. And there's my little makeshift mold. It's a little bit flexible still. I'll smear a bunch underneath it and then build the most material on the top and attach it back there in the sanded spot, and then I'll bend that up to match the level so it dries just right. Good stuff. Didn't come out evenly, so trying to get the same amount of each. Bend that down and get a bunch underneath, if I can do it. Yep. Dries fairly quick, so a little bit of spit, a little bit of water on the finger, and you can give it some shape without it sticking to your finger. Could have went a little thicker and then sanded it down to that size after. That's probably the best bet, but I didn't quite mix up enough there. But with that washer in there, that's gonna work. So if you catch it just at the right time when it's flashed or flashing, getting harder, but it's still soft enough to cut with a little razor blade, that's the time to do it. You gotta be really careful, but you can kind of shape it generally in where you want it, and then a little bit of sanding afterwards to flatten it out just right, and it will be just perfect for one of those guys. Good enough. Well, there you have it. Came out decent. It's got that washer inside of it for support. Pretty much exactly the same spot for the holes. There was a tiny bit of the original clip left on this one, so I had just an outline of where the hole was, so that was perfect. That's gonna do just fine. All right, another mini resto in your kitchen. Just a remnants of the old silver bordering line on this Malibu Classic front plate. I'm not going to go on about the amount of patience it takes to mask this stuff off, especially this skinny one in here, but I'll give her a shot. These were swirling around in here, super loose, so one-sided sticky foam. There was remnants of possibly one of those on here before, but did all those. And also redid the valve, or the air entrance. That little Malibu Classic plate is held on with those guys. Really hard to get off, but I'm gonna try and get that off and then give this a polish of some sort because it's quite not shiny like it should be. Mini resto. All right, so down here in the shop, back on the mini resto. Give everything a quick little wipe down with the old wax and grease remover, and then blew it off with air to get all the little bits out of there. You know, when you paint, little fibers from the rags stick. This one I've already done. I got a couple touch-ups to do, but as you can see, it looks pretty good. All the little trim sort of re-chromed. Not chrome, but close. This is actually the paint I use. It's chrome bumper plate, bumper paint. But I don't want to spray it because it's just very hard to mask all that shit. So all I do is spray some in the lid, and I actually use a paintbrush, and it works pretty good. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get set up on the bench. All right. A little tidy. Oh, don't mind if I do. Start out with these guys. Believe it or not, using spray paint on the paintbrush actually works pretty good. You still get pretty much the same finish, so try and do it all in one swipe for a seamless finish. Put some tunes in here. Let's see what we get here, boys and girls. At first glance, could be better coverage. But that would be better than what it was. It's pretty faded. 30 years of Armor All on this thing. Gotta make sure you clean them good. Damn it. Well, let that dry a little bit, then we'll unmask it, see what she looks like. Well, came out not bad. Definitely looks a lot better. Gives you the factory look. You can see there's a little bit of leaching underneath the tape. I cleaned up a couple spots just with the wax and grease remover. You gotta be careful or you'll be starting over if you touch any of it with that stuff. Just slight leaching. For me to try and touch up those little guys risks running the wax and grease remover on the little rag or whatever you're using, running that into the main line and messing it up. Gave this a little polish, and Malibu Classic badge is getting a mini resto of its own. Came apart, so I used clear silicone and clamped it all back together so that it looks good and the color is fresh. Those things are something else when they come apart. The half of the Malibu Classic stuck to the back aluminum plate, and then the other half stuck to this rubber front piece, so you have to glue it together and line it up just right. But back to these. I'd say that's a whole hell of a lot better. Got a little bit of a touch up there to do. That shit'll clean off there, no problem. That guy too. Just have to be careful not to touch the line, but pretty simple stuff. Came out decent. Well, not bad, not bad. There was quite a few pieces, little pieces that I used off that parts Malibu, say like these guys. Got a couple extra bucket seat things, bucket seat belt things, because these are just trashed. These guys, they are for the back over here. As you can see, a little bit of a spot exposed there. So I got those from that car, and the small stuff that makes a car complete. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is that an actual Malibu seat? I don't think so. For some reason, I feel like this is 78 to 80 Cutlass interior seats with these squares. I'm just not sure. This is the lower molding trim off of that, off the blue Malibu, the classic style stuff. Ooh, it's rough. She needs door pins bad. Also needs a door spring in this one because the spring is not in there. The door just wants to free flow. But check it out, we got cruise control, baby. Yeah, right. I actually lost the frickin' keys for this. I think I left them on the trailer and on the trip back. So I did have an ignition, luckily, so I was able to switch that. Should have done a video on that actually, but it's really easy. Pull the steering wheel, pull the turn signal switch, and then you can get to a Phillips, I believe, that kind of countersinks through this, and then it just slides out. Had to do the door locks and the ignition and the trunk lock, which I've learned is pretty specific to the Malibu, because I had a four-door Regal lock kit, and yeah, it took a little bit of custom work to get them in there. Got me an ashtray again. B&M shifter, woohoo! Car has no engine. The driver's door closes all right. No engine, but it does have a transmission, apparently a turbo 350. Black, black, black. Car probably did originally have cruise control, maybe. Power steering. V8 motor mounts. This is originally a 267 car. I don't know if when they brought the 305s into these cars, or if they did. But nothing special under here. That head sure closes ugly. Ew. Really focus on the shine. Tiny bit in here. I'm thinking that's a common spot for these cars to rub. I can't even tell if this thing's focusing. Got them aftermarket speakers. Let's see what's in the trunk. Alright. Couple goodies the car came with. The radiator, the regular, I pulled the engine out stuff. Starter down there. Looks like a posi diff, but I have no idea what it's for. I think he said it might be a 12 bolt, so I'd have to look into that. Got the fat wheel wells off the Classic. There's the spring. And more regular, I pulled the engine out stuff. Random stuff. Not catastrophic in here, but there's some rust. No decals. Little bit of bubbling in there. Anyways, car's been sitting here for a bit. Haven't done a video on it because I've been lazy and I don't know, working on other junk. Not the straightest. But adds a Malibu to the collection. Kind of wanted a Malibu for a while. Now I got the one junker parts one and then this guy, so whatever.